Hi everybody, welcome to Watches with Dennis, and I thought it would be fun to end 2023 with a video about my 5 most worn watches. Now, that's actually somewhat challenging. I don't log it, I don't use an app to track it. I actually wear most of my watches pretty consistently and do something of a rotation. There are a few watches like this Mr. Jones watch, my novelty watches, that I don't wear very much, but a lot of my watches I do wear on a pretty fixed interval. But I've gone ahead, I've gathered up the 5 watches, so let me turn the video around and let you guys see what they are as I talk about each of them and sort of how I wear them or how I wore them during 2023 at the very least, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so my 5th most worn watch is my Rolex Explorer 2. This is actually the watch of the 14 that I own that's been in my collection the longest, which is probably about 15 years at this point. Anyway, because of it being a GMT watch, the date isn't really a quick set date. The best you can do is take the hour hand and hop it forward. So long story short, I keep this watch in a watch winder. It's one of 2 watches I keep in the watch winder. The other watch is my Orient Kano, and that's just because there's an empty spot. I don't really need it in there, but the Kano is too big to wear regularly. So when I need to sort of get up and go and don't want to bother with the watch I was wearing and I don't want to set a new watch, this is the one I usually end up grabbing. That actually doesn't happen all that often, which is why this is 5th in the list. But I used to only wear this watch. It was my only watch for a very long period of time. So it has a lot of wear on it, but it is still a favorite of mine to turn to because the 40 millimeter size makes it quite wearable. And it's both sporty, but dressy enough to go with most situations that I would find myself in. So that was number 5. My 4th most worn watch of 2023 is my G-Shock. So there's not a lot that needs to be said about this. G-Shocks are great. They go with a lot of stuff. I don't tend to wear this to work because it is in no way dressy and I have an office job, but I do wear it outside of the office a great deal. So when it comes to mowing, walking, biking, changing the car oil, anything outside, this is normally the watch I will wear because it's designed to be beat up. It holds up really well. It can handle shocks, hence the name G-Shock. And so it remains a favorite of mine. I actually have it on a Barton band. I like being able to put these on bands other than the resin that it comes with. It's far more comfortable this way. And it's obviously been through quite a bit in and of itself. Ultimately, I don't think this is a watch that will fall out of the top 5 simply because it's really my only truly hardy watch that I'm able to wear. Okay, so number 3 on the list is my Seiko Prospex. This is a dive style watch. I don't find this slips under a cuff very well, so I don't wear this a ton to work, but I do wear it out and about quite a bit. And with my prior job, I changed jobs in the fall. It was easier to go ahead and pull off because I wore like polo shirts and such a lot more. So anyway, I like it because it's very sporty. I enjoy the turtle shell pattern on the dial, nice day date feature, and I own 3 dive watches. I mentioned the Orient Kano earlier. I also have an Omega Seamaster 300M, but this has my favorite bezel play. It's really soft, which is an interesting effect, unlike any dive watch that I've owned before. So anyway, the overall, I just really enjoy the way this one looks. It goes with a lot of stuff. I picked this one up early this year and have had a lot of fun with it. So I'm not sure this one's going to stay in the top 5 for 2024, but it has enjoyed that positioning in 2023. All right, penultimate watch worn this year is my Lange Söhne Lange 1. I got this early in 2023. It needed to be serviced right away, so I didn't get to wear it initially, and then I got it back in the late spring. This was something of a grail watch for me. I traded 5 watches plus a sizable amount of cash to be able to get this watch and got rid of a lot of my other dress watches in the process. However, when I started my new job in September, I started needing to wear dress clothes a lot more than my prior job, which had me working from home a lot. So since then, the Lange 1 has ended up on my wrist a lot. It's usually worn at some point during the week at this stage, at least any week that I work. So because of that, it has ended up jumping into the number 2 position. So as far as the dress watch goes, it's great. It's a little bit larger than the historic dress watch standards, both in terms of its 38.5 millimeter diameter and also its thickness. It is over 10 millimeters, but that's still all quite slim in terms of being able to go under any sort of sleeve that I might wear. So anytime, especially if I'm wearing a tie, but anytime I'm in dress clothes, I do consider this. And so I end up turning to it a lot at this point because I do a lot of in-office work at this stage. But my number one watch worn in 2023, sort of surprising to me when I started to go back and take stock, is my Oris ProPilot X. Now, in my Straight of the Collection video for 2023, I sort of talked about how I'm not sure if this watch ultimately will survive in the collection. And that's mostly because everything it does, I kind of have something else that does the same thing. This is titanium. It is my only titanium watch. And it is very, very gray because of the gray of the titanium case, but also the gray of the dial. And that's part of where I'm sort of like on the surface of it when I look at this. It's a very boring watch. I think a lot of people would feel that way. However, for whatever reason, I kept grabbing it. So I had to really sit and think, well, it being so gray means it goes with just about anything I wear. It works pretty well in dress clothing, just as well as the Explorer does. And it also can work very, very casual because of the metal bracelet and the very, I think, aggressive configuration of the bezel turning and what's going on with the crown, and even the buckle system is all very, very aggressive style. And again, you can see I wear it quite a bit with the scratching and the titanium and such. So all of that, I think, is a big part of why I turn to it. The other thing is, which anyone who has a titanium watch would be able to tell you, it's very light, very, very lightweight. And ultimately, I think this is why I end up pulling this out over and over again. So I will usually get out a watch the day before I need to wear it and set it the night before. And so a lot of times when I'm getting ready for work in particular, I will look in my watch box and I will see this watch and I will go, you know what? It's so comfortable. And I just get it out, set it, and I usually end up wearing it for 2 to 3 days in a row. And that happened enough that this ended up crawling its way up into the number one position. And this is a watch I picked up this year. So again, kind of like the Seiko Prospex, I don't know if this ends up holding the top 5 position, but outside of the G-Shock, I don't have anything else that's really going to compete with this in terms of lightness outside of dress watch space, which again has a very, very different aesthetic. So anyway, it sort of surprised me, but yeah, Oris ProPilot X, my most worn watch of 2023. Well, that's it. Those are my 5 most worn watches of 2023. I imagine it will shift up here in 2024. I'd be curious to know, I'm not going to ask you to write all 5 of your watches, but what watch did you wear the most in 2023? I'd like to know that, so if you'd be willing to comment that below, I'd enjoy reading those. Other than that, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. If you want to be notified when I have new videos, click the subscribe button. There are links in the video description to join the Discord if you want to chat about watches further, and also a link to my 99-cent club if you'd like to support the channel beyond subscribing and liking. But anyway, that's just probably my last pre-recorded video of the year, so I wish you all a very happy new year, and I look forward to talking to you in 2024.